Hello and
Welcome
welcome
to
to Slapendipity, Hobos of Happy
Slapendipity-ville.
Slappy Town.
Hobos of Happy Slappy Town.
My name is Gibby,
My name is Eric.
but you can call me Devon, and this is Eric.
And that's Devon, and
Who you can
call
call Eric.
me Eric. No, you can't. People can't call you Eric.
They can call you Eric. So, we didn't know whose turn it was to start, so we both decided to say it at the same time. I think that went very well and very
I think it
comprehensible.
couldn't have gone better.
I think people listening to this in, the car on speakers will definitely understand what's happening. Really good start.
Yeah, we deserve awards, I think, just for that.
Okay, so we're a little out of practice because despite you guys hearing us talk for the last 5 episodes, we've been lying to you. I'm gonna pull back the curtain.
What? No way!
And reveal the very secretive, well-hidden explanation that was in fact not being recorded week to week in real time.
Shut up.
We've been in Japan for the last 5 Mondays. We record these on Mondays. Also the last 5 Wednesdays, so yeah. The last 5 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, we haven't recorded since we left. And this is our first time back.
I'm gonna close those curtains just a little. That's, you've seen enough. But yeah, we are back. We've been gone for a month or so, and, now here we are, and, things have gotten a little crazy. To preface it, this is not the Japan episode. Sorry to get your hopes up. Hopefully the title isn't too tricksy in that way, but...
not the Japan episode, that's the title.
Not the Japan episode. There we go. 10 out of 10. But you can get a sneak preview. We can talk about some flights or something. I don't know.
The airplane flights?
The airplane flights.
Oh my gosh. So this has been something we've been talking about for months so we planned this trip about 11 months ago. And I've been talking ever since then about my fear of flying on the airplane because it's a 14-hour flight basically over water the entire time. And so I was terrified.
I'd say half the time.
Half the time was over water?
Maybe 8 hours. A fair majority of it, but there was also definitely at least 4 hours over land.
So I think it came out to a very, very small part was over water. So basically, we immediately fly north, fly over Canada basically the entire time, over parts of Alaska.
This is the flight to Japan.
To Japan. Fly over Canada and Alaska, and then kind of dip down for a little bit. So we were over the ocean for a significantly shorter portion of time than I thought we would be.
Mm-hmm.
And then on top of that, it was very cloudy, and I couldn't see the ocean.
Right, because you are above the clouds when you fly.
Yeah, but I've been on flights where there's no clouds, and you look down and you just see all of Kansas, and you're like, wow, look at all that land forever. Yeah, so this thing that the existential dread of looking out a window and only seeing open ocean was not something I ended up experiencing because we couldn't see the ocean.
Hooray!
Yay! All right, let's kind of rewind back to the beginning of our airport adventure.
Okay.
We arrive at the airport.
We arrive.
I have 2 bags. I have my backpack. I have a soft, I'm going to say, duffel bag that is folded up and squunched into my hard suitcase, which has all of my clothes on it. And this is a small suitcase. This is a carry-on suitcase. Every single thing I'm bringing to Japan is in a carry-on or in my backpack.
Mm-hmm.
We would later, we have a friend who travels a lot, and we sort of made an offhand comment in our group chat about, the luggage we had, and he was flabbergasted how lightly we were traveling, and after being there all the time and eventually having to buy more suitcases, I realized just how kind of insane it was that we left for a month with such little supplies.
Well, so here's my take. I had the same thing. I had a book bag, and I had a carry-on suitcase that had a duffel bag inside of it. And for me, that was plenty. That was maybe a little too much, in my opinion. It was probably just right. Excluding everything I would later on to buy. So, but leaving it, I was like, yeah, this is more than enough. And I still kind of agree with that.
I just couldn't disagree more. One of the things that we had that we sort of didn't take into account was that we were allowed 2 checked bags, which could be much bigger. And we're like, oh, if we need to, we can buy large checked bags in Japan to fly home with, because we'll be buying like souvenirs and stuff. I think the reasonable thing to have done originally is just have one giant checked bag that was like maybe 3/4 full of like clothes and stuff, instead of slamming things into the tiny carry-on bag.
I mean,
I think that would have been the ideal solution here. So it's still only one bag, but I could have fit a few more things into it.
What would you have fit? So all of my clothes fit into my carry-on suitcase, and I had like some, like a, learn Japanese phrases and a tour guide book and like a tablet for watching some shows I would not watch. So like I had plenty of space in my stuff. In terms of bringing it to Japan, what would you have brought with you to Japan that you could not have?
I think there's 3 key things, or let's say 4 key things. So first of all, my backpack, which is, like in plain terms, is like your personal item, like your purse. So I had a full jam-packed to the bursting giant backpack between my legs the entire flight. I would have taken half the stuff in there out and put it into a suitcase if it had fit in the suitcase. So, number 1, I would just have fewer stuff in my backpack. Number 2 is I brought way more clothes than you did.
You didn't, though.
I brought...
You did.
Yes, I brought...
You brought like clothes, 8 outfits.
And I should have brought more.
Well...
Now, here's my thing. So we have constantly talked about where I'm like, I'm a Boy Scout, always be prepared. And so I packed very heavy. I'm not going to get into I'm not going to get into detail. But basically immediately upon landing, I obtained an injury. And
womp womp.
by the end of the trip, I had to throw away 3 shirts and a pair of pants because they were covered in blood. And so I'm very glad that I overpacked and had more outfits.
Now,
and I should have had more.
I believe you said this on the podcast, maybe not. But you had full intention of throwing out your clothes anyway.
Yes.
You were like, I am overpacking and I will throw out all of my clothing if needed to fit as many souvenirs. And every time we talked about it, you were like, well, I'm not going to have clothes, so it'll be fine.
But if we had started in the beginning with a bigger suitcase, I don't think I would have had that mentality. I would have been like, of course everything will fit on the way back. I have a giant 70-inch suitcase.
And it wouldn't have fit.
I would have packed way more clothes. Just like the temperature variance when we were there was crazy. Sometimes it was cold, sometimes it was hot. I may have had just like a different jacket because the one I had was a little too heavy. Yeah, I would have had fewer stuff in my backpack. And then the other things that I think were like would have been so much easier is I would have packed a second pair of shoes. Which you basically told me to, and then my response was my shoes will not fit in a suitcase because I have size 14.5 shoes. I also don't really wear sneakers, so like, oh, you can have like normal shoes for walking and then good sneakers for hiking. It's like, well, I don't wear sneakers, so it would basically just be like 2 pairs of the same shoes.
Oh, interesting, and yet you would have brought a second pair.
Yes, because, so I walked through my shoes. I bought them a week before we left, I wore them in a little bit, and by the end of the trip, they were destroyed.
Well, you don't wear sneakers. What do you wear?
I wear Skechers. They're called like Skechers slip-ons or something. They're like they're slip-resistant shoes that like you can wear in a industrial kitchen, but they just don't have laces. They're called like Skechers. So, they're Skechers brand something.
I wear running shoes as my default shoes because I just find them comfortable. I used to be a runner. It's whatever. So my shoes have not been run through yet. They are definitely worn, but I am not like, oh, I need to throw them out because there's so much use on them. You should have got sneakers. Is my point.
I don't wear sneakers. They don't fit my feet. Anyway,
They make size 14 sneakers.
The 4 big changes that would have been so great if I had a bigger suitcase. Fewer things in my backpack, second pair of shoes, more clothes, and items that you cannot have on a carry-on bag that you can have on a checked bag. For example,
what?
A knife.
Oh. Why would you bring a knife?
Because I needed a knife so badly, and it took us, 4 or 5 days to find the knife that we ended up getting?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was...
Which isn't that long.
I went 4 to 5 days without a knife, Eric. Why
did you need a knife?
For eating food.
Well, that's so weird. Your teeth are knives. Your teeth are baby knives in your bones.
Let me just spread butter on this piece of toast real quick with my teeth.
Yes, unironically. Or use your fingers.
Insanity.
Your body is a tool at your disposal, and every part of your body is no dirtier than any other part of your body unless you, went and did an activity to, you have mud on your arm or something.
Maybe no part of your body is less dirty because you put stuff in your mouth that you shouldn't.
Devin, that has too many innuendos.
It's not an innuendo. Literally, he would I need both of my hands to do something. Let me just put, my ticket in my mouth, or my phone in my mouth, or, this thing in my mouth. I'm like, what are you doing?
Well, now...
Don't put that in your mouth. That is from a dirty Subway. What are you doing?
Whoa, I never put anything from a dirty Subway
You didn't put your Passmo card?
That was in my wallet, not on the subway floor or something.
And you touch every single turnstile at the subway with it. Basically, it's a prepaid card to pay for, bus.
It's a Metro card.
Yeah, a Metro card. And you'd, put it in your mouth. I'd be like, that just touched every turnstile we've been through. What are you doing?
Well, it's not like I placed it on my tongue. I had my lips go inside of my mouth just a little bit so that when I put something like my Metro card in my mouth, my lips were holding it. Kind of like when someone applies lipstick and they mush their lips together to really get it all over. And then, instead of lipstick, it was my Metro card.
Do you kiss your mother with that mouth?
No.
Okay. What were we saying?
Those were the 4 things. Which, to be... yes, these are the changes you could have made and stuff. I don't think you would have brought a knife, because I think you would have been like, they have knives there, it'll be fine.
So, my mother wanted me to pack shaving razors, and I was like, Mother, I'm not bringing razors on an airplane, because 9/11. But if we had checked the bags, I would have, brought things like that. I probably would have brought a good toothbrush instead of the terrible hotel ones, which were genuinely horrible. So there's the front of your teeth and then the back of your teeth, and there's the curved part. These toothbrushes could not get the curved part of my mouth. Terrible, awful skill issue. Yeah. But yeah, no, I feel like it would have been much easier if I'd had the larger suitcase to begin with. And as a spoiler, I now have a much larger suitcase.
You have 2 much larger suitcases.
2 even.
That's quirky. We'll find out about that later.
Much later. Different episode.
But I personally, I think it worked out, and if we were more... if we had better self-control in what we bought and stuff, I think we could have... At least I could have left Japan with the same amount of luggage. I was fully in the mindset of, everything will fit in these 3 bags, and if they don't, I will get 1 suitcase as a checked bag. Yeah. And that's not what ended up happening, but
No, but subtle foreshadowing.
It's subtle, keyword.
Alright, so in-flight entertainment.
Oh, sure.
You had a tablet with a bunch of TV shows downloaded on it, or whatever.
I did.
I had my Switch, which I was like, oh, maybe I'll play Switch. I had my laptop. I was like, oh, maybe I'll write some FNAF scripts. And I had
Mm.
my phone. I'm like, I have all these videos to watch. I'll watch them on my phone. So I planned on buying in-flight Wi-Fi so I could watch YouTube on my phone.
Wow.
Guess what you can't do on in-flight Wi-Fi?
Watch videos?
Watch YouTube on your phone. Basically, the internet's just so bad that like you literally can't do that.
Mm.
So I was like, oh no. I only have one video downloaded on my phone. So I guess I'll watch that.
Well, that can't be too bad.
Well, a single YouTube video to last you 14 hours?
Well, if your video was like, I don't know, 40 hours or something.
If it was Quentin Review's 40-hour video about the Beverly Hillbillies?
Yeah.
Yeah, if it was something like that, totally. So yes, that is the majority of what I watched.
Yeah.
There were some parts where I got very motion sick, and I couldn't watch the screen, so I put on a podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And I started and completed Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe on the Switch. And that's what I did for my flight. Played
Wow.
Switch, listened to podcasts, watched YouTube videos, was extremely uncomfortable, hated the whole thing. But hey, we made it to Japan.
Yeah. I ended up not using my tablet. Turns out Venom, The Last Dance, and Sonic 3 were on the in-flight movies, both of which I meant to watch, so I watched those. I fell asleep for a few hours.
Did you finished Sonic, right? Did you finish Venom?
Yeah, I finished both.
What did you think of Shadow the Hedgehog?
Yeah, it was good. Good stuff. I think my only real criticism with Sonic 3, understanding that it is a kid's movie and is Sonic, I think Jim Carrey being two different Eggmans and the, like, I don't know, it felt a little too much, which I'm aware is maybe a minority take, but a cold take even. But that's what I think. I thought Shadow was good. I thought it was like, it had good parallels between him and Sonic. I'm a little disappointed. Spoilers for Sonic 3. I'm a little disappointed they didn't kill Paul or whatever the human man is.
Yes, I agree.
In Sonic's life, because that would have been a very good parallel to show like Shadow and like mourning Maria's death and how that transformed him into who he is now, and then Sonic going, being fairly plucky and having a loving support network, and then his more or less father figure dies, and then how that transformed him and he did fall into rage and vengeance. And then him getting out of that because of the support network he still had would have been a very compelling, and then it would have mirrored well, and
So basically, the script basically said he dies, right? Sonic thinks he's dead. The audience, basically thinks he's dying or he's dead. And so the climax of the movie is Sonic being angry and going to the dark side and then fighting Shadow, but then overcoming that, etc., like you said. So it's like, the movie would be identical if he died or if he didn't die, up until the last 4 minutes where it's revealed that he survived his injuries. And so I think that is a cheap cop-out to have the movie rely on the fact that Sonic's motivation is that his friend died, and then at the end go, no, actually, he's fine.
Yeah. But also kids' movie. Which...
A child, a girl, exploded in this movie. Shadow's whole backstory is that his friend was a child. A girl died.
Yeah, and she should have, because it was accurate to the source material.
Yeah, so I can't, Paul, whatever his name is, die.
Because now the kids like him, too, and he's the comic relief.
Yeah, Knuckles is a comic relief. Okay, that's like saying, man, stop complaining that they brought Mufasa back to life at the end of the Lion King remake, because it's a kid's movie. They can't have Mufasa die.
Ooh.
No, they didn't do that. But my point is that, saying it's a kid's movie so you can't have an important character die. It's like, I disagree.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I think he should he should have stayed dead, but, whatever. It didn't happen. I'm not gonna throw wasted tears on what ifs.
Speaking of staying dead, what did you think of Venom 3?
It was very sad to me. It was bad, I think. Oof. And I think the other two were like a little campy, a little like, haha, teehee, we're having fun here. And it was, it was, I could acknowledge, even when I watched Venom 1 and 2, it was like, these are okay movies. They're good because I liked Venom and stuff. I think a more unbiased person would have been like, they're okay. And I was like, I don't care. Like, Venom's cool and the stuff they're doing and Carnage and And then Venom 3 happened and I was like, oh, this is bad.
I thought they were all very okay.
I think that you think Venom 3 is at the same level as Venom 1. And even Venom 2 is astounding. And I don't understand.
I think 2's the best, and I think 1 and 3 are both like, that was a movie. I think I just like the first two less than you. I think we probably put the third one on the same level, I just like the first two less than you do.
Which is perhaps that unbiased take. Still wild to me, but fair enough.
So, spoilers for Venom. But he dies and he stays dead. Like Venom's gone. He's dead. Goodbye. Well, so it's set up
because there's an itty bitty piece of him left at the very end that maybe gets onto a person.
Yes. Well, the thing about that is that the universe is over.
Well,
there's no Venom 4. There's no sequel. The whole movie was a setup for Null, the god of the symbiotes, who was going to be like the Avengers' big threat. That they were going to have Venom and Morbius and Madam Web and Kraven all fight Null, and then they ended the universe. They said, no more movies, not making any more of these, the universe is over, so the story is that Venom is just dead.
Well, except this little piece, if we ever revive the universe.
Yeah, if they're in if Tom Hardy's in Secret Wars, I guess.
Yeah.
They can just write it off and be like, oh my god, there's incursions where entire multiverses or entire universes are being destroyed. And then in the background just show, like, the Venomverse colliding with, like, the Fox Daredevil movie and be like, oh no, they're all dead.
Oh no.
They killed Madam Web.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have specifics, really. I thought it just kind of lost itself in its own sauce.
I liked the scene where he danced with the lady.
Oh yeah, that was a good scene. That was cute. Especially because they had, like, I don't know, like, friend chemistry? I don't know.
Platonic.
Yeah, like, I Venom's relationship with, I forget her name, but the old lady store owner was, like, just hilarious. And that little dance is just payoff for 3 movies of their relationship. That was good. I was a little disappointed we didn't see his love interest at all. I think she's a good actor and fun character. And instead we just get, like, knockoff scientist version of her, but not really. And then, like, there's, like, the movie spends, I would say, too much time on her, and, like, I don't care about this new lady or her assistant.
Yeah, new lady is like, my brother was struck by lightning, and now I need to be a Venom. It's like, wow, okay. But yeah, movie was fine. Sonic 3 was also fine. So your flight was fine, is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, you watch 2 movies, your eyes hurt, you go to sleep, you maybe listen to some podcast or something, you get some food, you eat the food.
You eat my food.
I only ate a little of your food.
So they'd bring the food, and I wouldn't eat it because it's not good.
Well, not good. A cup of vegetables.
Here's your vegetable steam fry. I'd be like, wow, no, bye.
It just makes me so much, because I've asked you before, Devin, you eat vegetables? Yeah, sometimes. Doesn't
I
eat the vegetable stir fry, which is the most basic vegetable
Well,
dish.
as you've learned on this trip, I don't eat food other people prepare. I make all of my own food. I only
Oh
cook
no,
from
I knew
home.
that before.
Yes, but like this, getting back to
And
like our
that,
knife conversation is like
sure.
the reason I needed a knife is because I make my own food. I only eat my own food. I ate
Yes,
two
because
I ate two things
mhm,
on this trip that I didn't like make myself, and that's pizzas and I'm not gonna count
churros.
ice cream, but yeah, churros.
No, you should count ice cream.
Ice cream is ice cream.
What? Oh, it was prepared and
It
served by
comes
someone
out of
else,
a
but it doesn't
machine.
count. So there's other food.
Not churros or pizza. You gotta like make those. Anyway,
No, there
anyway,
were so many vending machines that had food in them. Those were made by machines.
anyway. I didn't eat any
You
of the
ate
plain
hard
food.
ice cream.
I ate crackers
Yeah. You ate
on
the
the plane.
bread, but
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
Um.
Yep.
Yep. I think I ate the food. I didn't eat all of them. Because they also, like, you're on the flight for 14 hours, so they give you, like, 4 meals, and I'm like, this is very generous, except not really, because it's a flight, and the money you spend, and the stuff, whatever, I'm sure it's probably the bare minimum. But either way, I'm full, so, whoops.
Yeah. A few minutes after they passed out the food, they would come around with a cart with a big garbage bag on it, and each time I would just tip my completely full like plate into the trash can. And at no point did these flight
Wasteful.
attendants go like, "Oh, I see you're not eating your food. Are you okay?" They're just like, "Oh, whatever." Flight attendants
Well,
on the
yeah,
way
why
there,
would, what?
cringe and trash. Flight attendants on the way back, kind of cool.
Lols. I think the flight attendants on the way there were fine. They were doing a job. They're not. Why would they? Hey, buddy, aren't eating your food. Are you okay?
Do you want
Uh,
like a bag of pretzels or something? That's what they should have said. They should have offered me a bag of pretzels.
well, you could have asked.
No.
This is one of the things I learned about you during this trip, which I kind of knew, but I don't think I knew to the extent of, hey, Devin, do you want literally anything that you do not have because you need it, like food, water, the bathroom, basic amenities? You should speak up for yourself and go get them. No, I would rather die than talk to a person.
Yes, I would rather suffer than inconvenience other people.
Which is, no,
Except for
it's
you.
not
That's different.
inconveniencing them. And that's also wild. I mean, we have a huge history and relationship, but I don't want to inconvenience anyone except the person I'm going to be living with for a month.
Being like, Eric, you speak a little Japanese. Can you ask them for XYZ?
Devin, I taught you those phrases. You know how to ask for help in Japanese.
Well, one of the things that
No.
happened pretty early on, I don't remember the specifics, was like I wanted something, but I didn't want to ask for it, and then you marched up and you asked for it on my behalf. And then there was a time when you wanted something, but you didn't want to ask for it, so I marched up and asked for it on your behalf. And I thought that was
No,
kind of like, oh yeah, that's just how people work.
to an extent, but the things I wanted were not like water and food and whatever. I still advocated for myself. I was just like, oh, I kind of want this thing, but I don't need it. I'm fine. And that you saw the line in the sand and said, let me cross this line.
Yes,
Anyway,
but I think now you might appreciate that, like, the reason I bring a giant bottle of water and multiple food things in my backpack every day is preparing for the possibility that I won't be able to find food or water while we're out.
except you didn't do that. Not
I
really.
guess I
I
did.
don't
Oh my god,
remember.
I had so many topos with me, so many waffles shoved in
Oh,
my bag.
yes, you had a bunch of candy with you that you would eat,
It wasn't candy, it was waffles and
which is a dessert.
these like pretzel rod things with
Yeah,
chocolate on them.
which is
Snacks.
candy.
Snacks. Waffles are dessert? What? Hold on.
Waffles are a dessert.
No.
Everyone has been tricked. I have reached enlightenment. I believe I've said this a little bit before. Waffles, pancakes, and French toast, dessert. And if you go to Japan
Literally
and
the
go to a
definition of
Denny's,
breakfast.
it's in the dessert menu.
Pancakes are the definition of breakfast.
No, hey, you know what's a way better... You know what pancakes are? Carbs and sugar, which is delicious. I'm all of these foods, delicious. I still love them. However, you want a balanced breakfast, eat an egg on some toast and... I don't know.
So French toast, got it.
Bad. No, normal toast. Normal toast. Toasted, heated bread with maybe butter.
And egg, like French toast.
Where's the cinnamon? There's no cinnamon. French toast is 90% cinnamon.
I didn't always put cinnamon on my French toast. That's just like an added bonus.
What?
Sometimes.
I'm so sorry you did not. That's insane. I'm sorry.
You don't put butter on pancakes.
Yeah, why would you?
That's
you have
what butter's
syrup.
made for. Butter's made for pancakes.
Not. Oh, get out of here. Anyway, before this becomes a food episode, which it arguably already has, the flight is fine. Did you sleep at all on the flight to Japan?
No.
I forget. No. And there wasn't any bad turbulence that freaked us out or anything. It was, I don't know. How would you rate the flight overall? I mean, you hated it, but like...
I tried to put it out of my mind, and then the day before we came home, I was like, I don't know if I can do that again. Having lying in bed being like, I can't believe that this is going to happen again. At least it's 2 hours shorter. But I genuinely terrified.
And so when we actually went into that day, we get to the airport after some shenanigans. We arrive. We have an hour before boarding.
I knew I'd have no food on the way home. So I needed to obtain food. And thankfully I had a couple waffles. So I shoved those in my backpack. I'm like, I will eat these waffles on the way home.
And that'll last you for 13 hours or so.
We had money left on our Metro cards. And
yes.
Nothing to do with that. So I'm like, okay, I have $9 on my Metro card, which work in vending machines. So I went to a vending machine. I spent $9 on ice cream. And I said, this is my last meal. And then I ate $9 worth of ice cream.
Wow. Truly the ice cream of the universe or something.
Yeah, one of the benefits of the suitcase situation is that my backpack on the way home was basically empty, because it was my phone charger, my Switch. That was it. There was only stuff I needed on the flight. So backpack was nice. All of our bags being checked and out of our hair was nice. A lot of food to prepare for the flight was nice. We had very good seats on the way home. A lot of leg room.
Yeah.
Which we didn't know about until we sat down, but yeah.
Yeah. We purposely picked seats at the back of the plane near the bathroom and or the steward area, flight attendant area, where the crew prepares the food or it's where they hang out. So we got a little bit of extra leg room. And thankfully on the way back, the bathroom wasn't near us. It was in the middle of the plane, so...
I ran into two people.
Okay.
Going to the bathroom. As in, I'm walking down the aisle and there's turbulence or don't have my footing or whatever, and I just run into people.
Wow.
Trip and fall into them in their seats twice.
Dang.
So I would have preferred the bathroom to be closer to us. Anyway, I'm there and I'm gonna play through the entirety of Mario Deluxe. Or what's it called? Mario Wonder, sorry.
Yeah.
Because we have a flight home, I'm gonna play through another Mario game. And I downloaded a bunch of videos on my phone so I could listen to them. And I had an audiobook I was listening to.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked at the in-flight movies, and I was like, oh my god, I can watch The Godfather Part 2, which I've never seen before. This 12 hours of me not being able to do anything is a great excuse to watch a couple movies I've always wanted to see.
Yeah.
We get up in the air.
Yeah.
It's been maybe half an hour since takeoff.
Right.
People come around with food.
They don't.
They do. I get my food.
They.
You didn't get your
Oh,
food. I got my food.
you get your food because you marked you're a vegetarian, like, online. So you get your, every person that, like, marks,
Allergies,
hey, I have special, allergies, dietary restrictions, whatever. They get their food before anyone else. So you get your food, yeah. I don't get my food. Because the flight attendants, they have to prepare the little carts and they gotta stack it with all the food. But before they stack it with all the food, they just take in, the 5 people that have said they have whatever issues, so they get their food first. And in that small gap between dietary needed people getting their food and the food actually going out, what do we hit? Turbulence.
Pilot comes out and says, "We apologize. The flight attendants will not be able to pass out the food while we're going through turbulence."
If we're sitting down, they're sitting down. We're still looking to give you the next, the service we promised you, but we want to ensure the safety of our flight attendants. And I was like, wow, that's real kind. And then he goes, we'll be hitting this turbulence for the next 4 hours.
The next 4 hours. Now, as you guys might remember, when I went to Tennessee, we hit some turbulence and I became extremely motion sick. So the moment he said that, I popped a motion sickness pill. And then I put the Switch away because I knew that playing video games while motion sick was probably not going to be good. So I just rested my head back, put on my audiobook, took my motion sickness pill, and blinked, and it was an hour later.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh, wait, I can fall asleep on the plane? What if I take a melatonin on top of my motion sickness pill, and I sleep, like, for 8 hours, like a full night's sleep? That's, like, most of the flight.
That's crazy. Did you take the melatonin pill?
I did, and I slept for basically the entire flight. I woke up a couple times, like I said, I went to the bathroom. I would be very dazed and, like, confused and not really know, like, what's going on. There was one time when I woke up and I was like, I can't do this anymore. And I look over and you're there and I'm like, I need to tell Eric that I can't do this. I need to get off the plane. I can't, like, we still have 4 hours left. I'm like, I can't do another 4 hours. Like, I physically can't do it. And I fell asleep and I woke up and there's like 2 hours later.
Wow.
Yeah, so I slept, like, the entire time, and then, like, we leave, and we go to the airport, and then we, like, get back in your car to come home, and then I'm basically asleep on the ride home, too.
You mean on your phone?
Yeah, basically asleep.
Yeah.
So, yeah, good combination there. Knocked me out. You slept, too, right? For 12 hours home?
Yeah, I slept 30 minutes, maybe 1 hour.
Oh, okay. What did you do for 12 hours alone while I was snoozing?
Well, so I want to preface one thing really quick. You left it out. Before the pilot came on, or the co-pilot, whoever, to be like, hey, we're hitting turbulence, as the flight attendants were preparing the meals, there were a bunch of empty seats, and there was an empty seat next to us, and I was sitting in the aisle seat. And one of the flight attendants goes, nah, screw this, I'm not doing this, and sits down next to me, and I'm like, understandable, your life is not more important than your job. However, this makes me very uncomfortable that a flight attendant whose job it is to be in the air and hits turbulence on the regular is like, no, I have to sit down. And I was like, oh my gosh, is this how I die? I didn't think it would be like this. What is going to be said? What will happen? Life is so flimsy, and like, you think you can do all these things, but like, maybe, this is it. You don't. And then we stop hitting the turbulence, and I go, huh. And the turbulence was not 4 hours. It was like 10 minutes. It was freaky. It it was moderate turbulence, according to the person on the announcement, the co-pilot or whoever. That was my thought process during that. But for 13 hours or so, my buddy gave me an audiobook, the Cradle series. There's like, I don't know, 15 books in the series. So I was like, okay, let me listen to this. I got nothing better to do. It's like 8.5 hours. I can like listen to 1.5 of them. I listen to the book and I go, wow, that's a good story. You know, he was good on him to recommend it. And, you know, I was a little slow on the uptake, but I'm glad I listened to it. Oh, what's this bonus chapter? Oh, the first chapter of the next book? Book 3? What? And so then I go on my phone, I had them downloaded and stuff, and I listened to book 2 first, and it was just such a seamless place to pick up. I was like, oh, this is just where they're starting. They're making small references to the main character's background, but they aren't driving it home, and it was just so well executed. I didn't feel the need. I didn't feel like I skipped a book. So then I listened to book 1. Teehee.
Teehee.
It was pretty good. I did a lot of stretching. I did some laps around the plane. Around the 6-hour mark, I'm just kind of fidgeting in my chair. I try to sleep. I slept for like 30 minutes an hour throughout various points in the flight. And this one flight attendant, because we're sitting basically right next to them, she looks over at me and she sees I'm like fidgeting. She's like, those chairs are terrible, huh? And I'm like, yeah, they are. I don't know how you sit in them for so long. And she's like, I don't always take flights like this, but yeah, it's pretty rough. And I'm like, yeah. Hey, you should get up and do some laps around the plane. It'll, you know, make you feel better and whatever. And I'm like, okay, that's a good idea. And she goes, you want some snacks? Yes, please. Okay, here's 2 bags of chips for you. Thank you. Do you want a drink? And I was like, yes, please. And she goes, what do you want? I got Coke, I got Sprite, I got orange juice, I got water, I got lemonade. And I was like, Coke, please. And she said, okay, here you go. And I said, thank you. She was very kind. And then she was like, you know, if you go into the mid-gallery next to the bathrooms, there are snacks there too. No one will miss if you take a couple. And I go, thank you. She was very nice and cool. And yeah, so I stretch, I walk around, I listen to audiobooks. That was basically my flight. And I didn't sleep in the car at all. And I think by the time, like, I went to bed, it was 9 p.m., and then I woke up at 5:30 a.m. And that I have been working at I have been waking up at 5:30 a.m. every day, no matter what time I go to bed.
You need to fix that.
Well, so I went to bed at 9 p.m. the first night, woke up at 5:30 a.m. I went to bed at 1 a.m. I woke up at 5:30 a.m. I went to bed at 6 p.m., woke up at 5:30 a.m. I went to bed at 11 p.m., woke up at 5:30 a.m. And then last night, I went to bed at 11 again, I think? Maybe 10? No, maybe 12. 10 to 12. 10 p.m. to 12 a.m. range. And I woke up at 9 a.m. And I was like, okay, this is, as long as we can keep doing this, I can tweak it. I didn't think I'd have a problem with jet lag, but I guess my body was like, no, we're messed up. You might not know it, but we are. And I went, oh no. And now it's fine. I'm sure it'll be fine. Have you been waking up at 5:30 a.m. because
Nope.
of jet lag and stuff? Oh.
Nope, not at all, actually. Normal, I've been sleeping good, like 8 hours a night.
Oh.
The other day, I only slept for like 6 hours. I woke up at 6 a.m. and I couldn't go back to sleep because I was thinking about how I just installed Oblivion on my computer. So then I woke up and I got up at 6 and I played Oblivion for a couple hours.
Wow.
Oblivion's one of the greatest games ever created. Oblivion Remastered is amazing. The fact that it released when we were in Japan was very sad, but I've now been playing it. So I love it. It's just as good as I remember, better than I remember. It's one of the greatest things ever created by mankind.
Well, it is the remaster, so it should be a little better.
But there's a lot of remastered games that are worse than the original, but this one's just as good.
Sure. Well, that's good. I'm happy for you. You get to play a thing you like, and it's good. Nice.
I think that you should sleep better.
I mean, I slept fine.
One of the things we talked about was maybe giving you like my watch for one night to track your sleeping, and we did not do that.
We never did that.
We also didn't need
forgot.
to. We didn't need to. The first thing I noticed is that we'd be like, okay, time to go to bed, and then like we'd be going to bed, and Eric would be asleep within like 4 minutes.
Teehee.
And then he wouldn't wake up throughout the night. I'm like, oh. Yep. When we talk about like different kinds of sleep or whatever, or like what's normal, your sleepingness is just like crazy to me. I've now seen it firsthand.
I am a heavy sleeper.
You're just out.
Yeah.
I don't get it, but okay.
I will say, we were also, like, the first night we were on the plane for, 14 hours or whatever, and then we were busy. Like, we were doing things in, like, a 14-hour day. It wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna sit at my computer for 4 hours, and then I'm gonna go take a nap, and then I'm gonna go eat lunch. It was like, no, we are fucking doing things. On average, I walked 20,000 steps. Max count was 36,000 steps. And I don't know if I'll be able to hit those numbers again here. But yeah, we were like, when we got back to the hotel, I was like, I'm tired. I'm gonna sleep. And I slept. I did notice sometimes you would go to bed first. Usually, I think this was in the second half of the trip, like, I would stay up a little bit. Our days weren't as jam-packed. And so then I would, like, witness you sleeping and then, like, sometimes waking up, or you'd, like, roll over, but I could feel you were awake. And I was like, that's weird. You should not do that.
I guess. I think that one of the more interesting aspects of being locked in a room with you for a month was our different opinions on the correct temperature. Because I was always like, it's way too hot in here. And you're like, what are you talking about? But then we went to a hotel where like the air conditioner was broken and it was pretty hot. It was like objectively it was hot. And I was like, well, it's kind of hot in here. And you were not having it. You were looking at other hotels for us to stay at. You're like,
oh, yeah. Well, because there was one night I didn't go to bed until like 3 or 4 a.m. And it was partially because of the heat. I was so uncomfortable.
So I always think it's hot. You don't. But when you do think it's hot, you have a less tolerance.
Well, when I'm trying to go to bed, yeah. Like, I can hang outside and, I don't know, go for a run and when it's 90 degrees outside. But when I'm trying to go to bed and it's 90 degrees, it wasn't that hot in the room, but, like, that's different. I need my bed, like, I need to be comfortable if I'm gonna fall asleep. And if it's not comfortable, I have a hard time going to bed. It is wild how much you were like, it's so hot. And I'm like, Devon, it's 68 degrees. And you're like, yeah, I'm sweating.
Yeah,
and
no,
like,
it's really hot.
That's insane to me. Of like, what do you mean? This is almost ideal temperature and you're saying it's hot? You're a northerner through and through, apparently. Is it more than above freezing? Must be a warm day.
Far too hot.
I think...
No, you go.
Well, in a similar vein, like, we would wake up and I'd be like, oh, it's morning. Time to open the curtains and let the sunlight in. And you would go, no, put that away. And I would go, okay, I guess Devon wants a little bit more sleep. That's okay. And I would go to the bathroom or whatever, and I would come out. You were up and had the lights on. And I'm like, what is this? And I opened the curtains, and you were like, no, put it away. And I'm like, what do you mean? You like artificial light better than natural light? Yes. And I'm boggled by that. There was one time you literally hissed at me because I opened the curtain. And I'm like, no. So that is now a question I will have to ask potential partners, like people I go on dates with. I didn't realize how important that was to me.
What is natural light versus artificial light?
Yes. If I was married to someone and they were like, I only use artificial light, especially in the morning, I don't think I could marry them.
I just think
after our month together.
When you open the curtain and the sunlight floods in, it's like, well, I guess it's daytime. We're awake now. Time to do things. If I wake up in the morning, just like some dim artificial light so I don't trip over stuff, I can have a little breakfast, still be half asleep. So nice.
No, it's daytime. Come on.
No, it's morning.
Morning is daytime.
Disagree.
But also, I guess, like, maybe you have a more sensitivity to it because you're, like, you have to be at a computer. You're used to artificial light. You, like, have blackout curtains.
Yes,
because to me, I'm like, the sunlight still gives a natural wakey uppiness. It's like, yeah, if you fully bosh the curtains open, yeah, it could be overwhelming. But if you open them up a smidge and you have that like one slit, or like maybe not a slit, but like a folder's worth of light coming in, and then 5 minutes later you open it up a bit more. Or you just go balls to the walls and open it up immediately. But any amount, you're like, no, I hate this.
I believe I made what you described as vampire noises at one point.
Yeah, you hissed. Yeah.
Yes. Because you open the windows. It's morning. What are you doing, you monster?
That's what you do. You get the fresh air. You get the fresh light. Get the fresh. Help wake you up. I think another thing, you have blackout curtains and whatever. I leave my curtains open all the time. So no matter what, when I wake up, my room has light in it.
Insane. Insanity. If I wake up, I don't want to know what time it is. I gotta look at my clock. Is it 2 a.m. or 10 or noon? Who knows?
Crazy. Wild, even. Which is what you were. You were feral.
Okay.
Literal hissing equals feral.
No, you burned me with the sun. Hiss, that's the sound that burning makes, so.
Any hoozles. Do we have any other plane, or are we missing anything? I don't think so, really.
No, I think that we can cut it here. I think we're done.
Wow. You can hear the tired in his voice. He is jet lagged.
So, I know that a lot of people were hoping this would be the Japan episode, not the not Japan episode. That will come. Possibly not next week. Just hold your horses. I know that I will be. But we're going to have a good summary episode in the near future.
Yes, we haven't quite settled on it, but it's either going to be like one 10-hour long video or 10 1-hours. I guess you can comment on what you would prefer. But yeah, it be coming. But until then, I got some raccoons and some dances to hang out with. Maybe check in on Seamy the sea monster.
See you next time.
Okay, goodbye everybody.